Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Championship Sunday edition of the Sunday Sideline Report. Mike Rifkin, along with Mark Old Ops Guy Halpern. Mark, I know you're a little under the weather, but how are you?
Under the weather, yes. That being part of it, you can hear it in the Old Ops Guy voice. But I don't know if I'm really happy or sad that Dallas is not there because I am this sick. And no one wants to hear a fan cheer for their team, and you sound like a little girl because all you can muster out is a high-pitched squeal. So I'm disappointed Dallas isn't there, but I'm a San Francisco fan and a KC fan today.
Ooh, okay. All right, so we'll dive right in. Mark mentioned Dallas not in. They lost last week to the 49ers. I would have had us do a whole recap of the Cowboys, but Mark is a little under the weather. Plus, he has done his own recap of the Cowboys, and he will do a further extensive view going into the offseason later. Could be found here on YouTube or on the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. But we're here, Championship Sunday. We're down to the Final Four, and we're not even at March Madness yet. We'll start with the NFC battle. The 49ers, the 2 seed, taking on the number 1 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm excited for this really because these are 2 teams that are very similar in how they want to approach it. Really good offensive lines, really good defensive lines, and really cool matchups across the board, Mark.
Yeah, you look at both. Excuse me. You look at both games today, and the 4 teams that are there deserve to be. They've been the best. Not to say the teams that played last week wouldn't have deserved to have been there today either. The teams that are there deserve to be there. And I'm saying this as because they were the ones all favored pretty much at the beginning of this season, with the low exception of San Francisco, no offense, but San Francisco was there halfway through the season. So I don't want to hear anybody say San Francisco pulled this out of anything. So it's going to be a battle, but we'll get into that individually.
I think one of the craziest things, you're right, it's for really the 4th team that I look at. Like, I thought Philly'd be good. I think Philly would be what they are and what they've been all year is the class of the NFC. San Francisco is just, if you look at the odds, like Philly's a 3-point favorite. I think you can make the case San Francisco could easily be the 3-point favorite in this game because of the way they've played. I love this matchup, though, because I mentioned the trenches are going to be so important for both. But then think about this one. The Niners have Samuel and Ayuk on the outside. Obviously, you could move Debo around. And they're going to go up against Darius Slay, James Bradbury, which has been a really good duo for the Philadelphia Eagles. Flip side that. Philly got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside, and they're going to go up against Charvarius Ward. And I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm just going to say his last name, Lenore.
You're like 99.8% there.
Yeah, who he had an interception last week, but this game has so many, I don't even want to say great players, but it has so many unique and twists and turns it could have. that's why I think the two ultimate X factors in this game are the defensive coordinators. See how they manipulate. I'll get into that more in a minute. Mark, you had your hand up, which is how we're going to communicate today because Mark is a little under the weather.
Yeah. I'm going to just, because, Mike did say, I am the big Dallas fan and Dallas lost. But I watched something this morning that I want 49ers fans to take to heart, that I'm not calling this the excuse why they lost. Dallas could have lost this game on a number of plays after this. George Kittle's catch, he was lined up as an illegal receiver at that point. Considering he came off the ball and he didn't stay into block, he had to be a yard back. That's why he was so open over the field. Dallas probably could have blown the game, not because of that, on other different plays. We saw it was going to happen. But this would have changed the whole state of the game. So expect the refs to be calling much tighter games along the lines. And as Mike said, the trenches of where this game is going to be won, that's where there's going to be the most scrutiny now.
I like the idea of Kittle versus Goddard, two pretty. Well, Kittle's an all-pro tight end. Goddard, when healthy, was having a really nice year. He got hurt for a bit, came back with the playoffs. The thing that I like about San Francisco, maybe a little bit more than Philly, I think last week was a telltale sign. Let me phrase this as well as I can. Philly is much better than what the New York Giants are. Apologies to Giants fans everywhere. The Niners and Cowboys were at least on an even playing field, you can make the case. So the Niners are battle tested, been there before. They were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, NFC title game again last year. This is a new world for Philly. Jalen Hurts hasn't been in this spot. Sirianni hasn't been in this spot. So the break Philly gets is that they're at home and that home crowd won't bother them. But I think the guy who I'm looking at as the ultimate X factor, Fred Warner, who is the best middle linebacker in football currently. Like, Mark, I hate to put salt in a wound, but the play he makes last week where he stride for stride with CD Lamb, no middle linebacker should be able to do that.
Last week, I came out against Fred Warner, calling him not the best middle linebacker in football. It's time to eat the little humble pie that was made for me after that game by Fred Warner's mother and sent over to me. Fred Warner is pound for pound the best middle line. Am I going to say he's the best linebacker in football? No. But the best at the middle and the best linebacker on, and it's a hell of a company to join. Best linebacker on the San Francisco 49ers defense. He controls that defense. He's the one who calls the audibles. He's the one who calls the shifts. So I take back my previous statement and Fred Warner.
Here's what I'm going to see what D'Amico Ryans' name, because I wonder who's going to be used as the Jalen Hurts spy. Is it going to be Fred Warner? Is it going to be Dre Greenlaw? Because you're going to spy Jalen Hurts today. That is what you're going to do.
You're going to see a lot of cover
ones. Don't beat you.
You're going to see a lot of cover ones.
You're going to see a lot of great defense. D'Amico Ryans, who's reportedly emerged as the front runner for the Houston Texans head coaching job, which, we'll wait and see on that. But I'm excited for this one. Mark, who do you like? Oh, you got your hand.
Yeah, no. one thing is that when you look at the running games for both teams, there is no matchup. Christian McCaffrey is the better running back over Miles Sanders. When you look at the wide receivers, obviously Brandon Ayuk is, I'd say, even with Devonta Smith. AJ Brown and Debo, I think they're pretty even as well. I think they're that good. Tight end, I give it to George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to come down to the defense again. This will not be an offensive productive game. I think Brock Purdy will end up getting it done late in the game, but I like San Francisco 14, Philadelphia 11.
I think you just brought up the major question mark for San Francisco is how Brock Purdy handles the road. But I think the key is Brock Purdy doesn't have to win you the game. He just can't lose you the game. And he's done a great job of not losing them games. He's won every start he's made. The plethora of running backs, you got McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell on one side, Miles Sanders, Boston's got Kenneth Gainwell on the other. Which we said this last week about Dallas and San Francisco. Which defense makes a play? That's the one who's going to win.
San Francisco.
And both defenses actually did make plays because Dallas's defense was really good. This Niners defense is so good. I'm not going to bet against them on the road or at home.
And they're not going to – when I say the Niners defense is going to win this game, it's not going to be via pick six or anything.
No.
It's going to be via fumble recoveries, forced fumbles, interceptions, and stuff like that. And then when you get Purdy into that shallow field throughout this season, he's proven you put him inside the 30, he's going to get you points on the board. So that's where the Niners defense has to come through.
Yeah, and I think they will. They came through last week, and I think they come through again. I think the part for me, I think this is going to be a little bit higher scoring than you do. I like the Niners in a tight one, like 21-17, 24-21, something like that. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to have a really good game plan today. And I just like what the Niners bring to the table. So that's the NFC side. Then we get prime time, the AFC title game, where Tony Romo will be the third best quarterback on the field, and he will go, Jim, I could have made that throw in my career. But we get Burrow and the Bengals. We get Mahomes and the Chiefs. Rematch of last year's AFC title game. Rematch of a great game earlier this year. Joe Burrow is 3-0 in his career against Patrick Mahomes. Oh, I'm so excited for this one. But the Bengals have done a lot of talking this week. Calling Arrowhead Burrowhead. The mayor of Cincinnati came out the other day and asked Joe Burrow to take a paternity test to see if he's Patrick Mahomes' dad. By the way, Patrick Mahomes' dad was a pitcher for the New York Mets. So
there's pictures of Mahomes out there when he was 5 years old shagging balls with Mike Hampton in center field.
Man, Patrick Mahomes could have been a Met instead of a Chief. But Mark, do you think the Bengals are talking too much?
I think the Bengals are doing just what they need to do, and that's talk. You want to get it. You want to give a team free press. Talk about them. Bring out the haters. This is what Cincinnati wants. They want the TV media flooded with people saying, like Mike saying, this is what all they want is just coverage about themselves. And this is nothing new to the world of psychology. It's standard psychology 101. The more you put somebody out there, the more you're going to hate them. The more Cincinnati can be hated going into this game, the more drive they're going to have. And I'm sorry, I've never seen somebody so angry play so well. When Joe Burrow gets angry and Jamar Chase is angry, there's nobody better in football to be with is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So I am predicting the upset here that really, to me, is not going to be an upset because we don't know the condition of good old Patrick Mahomes until we actually see him play. But I have Cincinnati at a very big upset, 38-20.
Well, I think it's funny about you calling this an upset. Like, this line has moved back and forth all week.
I know.
It was the Chiefs, and then it was the Bengals, and now, according to ESPN, it's the Chiefs -1.5. I don't mind the Bengals talking. I really don't mind it. Here's my issue. I would not poke the bear. And the bear in this case is two people. One, it's Andy Reid, who, when it's all said and done, he's going to Canton. You know. The other bear I wouldn't poke is Patrick Mahomes. I just wouldn't poke him. I wouldn't want to poke him. I know the ankle's a little gimpy, but he's still Patrick Mahomes. So that's where I'm at on that side. But I think one of the things you said that was actually interesting is you talk about Joe Burrow and his calmness, his demeanor. I think he's always like that. He's always calm, cool, and collected. His when he walks into the stadium, everyone talks about the fashion stadium, but the face never changes. So you had your hand up.
Word out, and mind you, this is one of probably 1,000 that's going to come out over the time. Word out of KC on Patrick Mahomes' ankle. We know it's a high ankle sprain. We do know that the ankle has been drained and tended to, and that he'll be getting a pain-relieving shot in the ankle. That doesn't mean he's getting narcotics. They're just going to numb that ankle up to the point where he can still have feeling to land on it. I'm going to tell you all right now, this is going to be a game that either will put Patrick Mahomes at the top seat. The man could go out now as better than Brady. He wins and goes in. Or you're going to hear Brittany Murphy scream from the heavens, no, because he's going to lose his career. I'm hoping beyond hope that somebody makes the right decision for him today. I understand what's at stake. I know the winner goes to the biggest accomplishment in football that you can get besides the Hall of Fame is a Super Bowl win. But what is it worth if you get one more Super Bowl win and then you go down, you go out and, fine. Or you get just there, you break your ankle, you never play a game again, you get hurt, and your career's over. What's the risk?
There's big risk, but I also think for me, and this is where I think the Chiefs have kind of changed their tune of what they've been over the years. The past couple of years, it's been the duo of Hill and Kelsey in the passing game. And Tyreek Hill's now in Miami. Travis Kelce's still a beast. I think Travis Kelce's going to be taken away today. He had 14 catches last week, which love what the Jags did all year. How you give up 14 catches to Travis Kelce, I'll never understand.
It's not like you're going to be able to take him out of the game completely, but
Right, but you got to limit the damage.
right. Sorry.
So the first time that these two teams played, he had 4 catches for 56 yards. But this isn't where I'm going. Where I'm going is where this Chief team is different. Is they can now run the ball effectively. They have found something here with Isaiah Pacheco, the 7th round pick out of Rutgers. He's physical at the point of attack. They utilize him very well. The first time these two teams met, he had 66 yards and a touchdown. The Chiefs as a team ran for 138 yards and averaged over 5 yards a carry. If they can run the ball and control the clock and limit Joe Burrow and what he can do, Chiefs are going to can win this game. Now, flip side for the Bengals, they would have to do for me what they did last week. They get the ball first. They went right down the field and scored on that Bills defense. If they do that this week and they silence up that crowd at Arrowhead, or as they call it, Burrowhead, then we're having a different conversation. So, but there's something about Kansas City, man. At home, I like the Chiefs in a close one.
This I figured of all the games, this would be the one Mike and I would be on the other sides of, because there's a little no bias here for us. It's pure being fans of the game for us right now, and it's good that one of us is, and it's not more or less pulling for it. It's just the way you can see how different when we're not biased, when we're loving the Dolphins or the Cowboys. You look at this game, and again, Burrow, Mahomes. I mean, yes, we know Josh Allen had his sights on this spot again, and he again was just as deserving as Joe Burrow to be there. Joe Burrow, the Bengals won in Buffalo. They did what they had to do to get here, and they're gonna do it again. And I think Jamar Chase is going to be the one who's going to be the Travis Kelce. He's going to have something around 10 to 13 receptions, 100 to 145 yards, and 2 to 3 touchdowns. I think that's going to be a lot of the focus is, like Casey, you get the ball to Kelce, you're getting somewhere. You get the ball to Chase with Kansas City. I mean, Cincinnati. That's the fever. And then that's going to open up the routes for Joe Mixon and T. Higgins. So,
but something that we have not mentioned yet. Jonah Williams, Alex Kapp have both been said they're not going to go today.
And that's
this is where Kansas City can take advantage. Buffalo didn't do that last week. Buffalo didn't take advantage of the offensive line depth of Cincinnati. Cincinnati actually ran the ball right down Buffalo's throats. If Kansas City, and I'm talking to one guy in particular, Chris Jones. Listen, dude, you can't be like Mr. Jones in the Counting Crows song. They need you to show up today. And listen, I think you will, personally, Chris. I heard what you said Thursday or Friday when you told the reporters we'll see you at Burrowhead. I think you're pumped up, but I need you to show up today. Spags, let's throw some exotic blitzes. Let's do some stuff because you're playing a makeshift offensive line here. If Joe Mixon beats you on the ground, Joe Mixon beats you on the ground. But I wouldn't change my game plan. I would throw pressure in Burrow's face because you are playing 3 backup offensive linemen. And you got to capitalize on this. You're the Chiefs. Oh, I'm excited for this one.
It's
I
gonna
got.
be a
I'm gonna go KC in a tight one, high scoring. I'm gonna go KC 34-31.
I'm gonna stick with my original prediction on Cincinnati. It's gonna be a fun football game. Um, Mike used the word prime time because that's as it, it is the prime time spot. But
Mhm.
both these games are prime time games
Oh
today.
yeah, absolutely.
And I know that's not what Mike meant it anyway. I'm just
Shout out
it's
Deion Sanders.
took that right away from me.
I apologize. Listen,
Ouch.
he's crushing it with the Buffalo, the Colorado
Man, what
Buffaloes.
little
He's
fire
crushing
the old
recruiting.
ops guy had was just taken away from him.
Oh,
No, these two games today is two gladiators going against each other to try to grab that final spot. And whatever the combination of the Super Bowl is, the Super Bowl is going to be amazing this year.
man, we'll preview the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. We're going to do our own Super Bowl pre-show. We're not going like 4 or 5 hours. We'll probably go hour or two. We'll keep you updated on that. But we also have a little bit of news out of Arizona. According to Ian Rappaport, Kyler Murray likely to make his return next season mid-season. So he will not be back for opening day, whatever you want to call it, week one. Kyler wants to take his time recovering from his torn ACL and meniscus. So the Cardinals are going to have to go find a quarterback to play.
And there's going to be
before
plenty.
Kyler
There's going
comes
to be
back.
plenty of them out there.
Yeah. So
Is this a point? And mind you, not where I really want to be doing right now. But is this a point where if you're Arizona, you call in Chicago to see if there's anything you can do, or are you pulling that emergency
for the pick or for Fields?
for either one? When you think about it, Chicago could trade Justin Fields and still have the number one pick and get Trout or Young, or they can trade the number one pick and run with Fields. Right now, Chicago's in the best position they have ever been in.
See, if I'm Arizona, I don't know if I would trade my pick because they're fourth. I just took Kyler at one, and I just signed him to a massive extension, which I still not a shot at Kyler. I don't think it was deserved extension. The guy I would go get is a guy who I think has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So I would look at I think there's two you could look at. I would look at Baker, unless he could get a bigger deal somewhere else. Or I'd look at Jameis. And I know people are going to say Jameis. I don't think there's a quarterback in the league who is more to prove if he's a starter or not than Jameis Winston. There are other guys who could say we could talk durability issues, we could talk certain other things. Jameis Winston has to be someone who you consider, or you could take a real flyer here. I don't know what it would take, but if Zach Wilson's on the table from the Jets, that's not going to cost you much in terms of pick compensation, I wouldn't say.
No, it wouldn't cost you your fourth, so you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so that's something else to consider. So exciting off season lies ahead, but we have Championship Sunday today, Pro Bowl next week. If you're into the Pro Bowl, it's now a flag football game. And then in 2 weeks, we got the Super Bowl. But enjoy the games today, because both games, as Mark said, both of these games are fantastic. But for Mark Old, up Sky Halpert, I am Mike Griffin. Thank you for listening to the Sunday Sideline Report on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube page. Check out other videos on this page. Check out all the podcasts at Google, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at S Insane Real on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. And check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. We have blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Meet the crew. But from Mark Hold Up, Sky Albert, I am Mike Rifkin. Thank you for listening to the Sunday Sideline Report on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube page. And we will talk.